So how do you alchemize more joy, happiness, and fulfillment? Is it by wearing your favorite Christmas sweater any time of the year? I don't know about that. But I do know that if you apply the 3 principles to creating your golden life, you will have a guide, a roadmap, a way to tap into the infinite well of joy, happiness, and fulfillment that is available to all of us. This is your invitation. Become the alchemist of your life. You decode your heaven on earth and go through the alchemical process. The alchemist is a master of himself so that he can master life. People thought alchemists were turning lead into gold, but they're really crystallizing their soul into form. Alchemize your golden potential. Welcome to the golden life. How do we alchemize and create a life of limited joy, peace, and happiness? Well, that's the topic we're going to explore today. And welcome to the Golden Life. My name's David Gilbert, and this episode really is going to encapsulate my philosophy of the Golden Life and the principles that will help you create a life of joy, peace, and happiness. And this is something that has been a calling for my life. And if you've listened to previous podcast episodes, you know I lost my father at the age of 11. But what that really did was shift the trajectory of my life, where I asked, what makes life worth living? And it's been kind of my deeper subconscious pursuit since. And today I'm going to share a little bit about the golden life and how it's come into fruition to really inspire you, to go after that deep passion within you that you don't know where it's going to lead. So I hope this story brings you a little bit more confidence, brings you a little bit more peace, and then I'm going to share some principles to help you focus on how you can create more joy in life. And if you're watching this episode and you're like, David, are you really wearing a Ted Lasso Christmas sweater on right now? Yes, this episode is about joy, and this sweater brings me joy, and it is technically December. I'm not just wearing this in the middle of January like a crazy person, but I really want you to have some clarity around how we can access more joy and create our own golden life. And just what is that golden life? And it's by doing the silly things that allows us to express ourselves fully, right? Like I am now, that will bring that gold into our lives. The golden life. What does this mean, David? What are we talking about when we're talking about the golden life? Well, this has been a really interesting thread in my own life. It's really started, I started making t-shirts in high school. My life was all about soccer. I was 4-year varsity goalie starter. I had back surgery, kind of lost some confidence. And while I had back surgery, I got into designing shirts because I was literally just stuck on the couch with my laptop and nothing to do but then watch I don't know, what did we watch back then? MTV and nonsense. And I started making t-shirts. And I started off and I trademarked and started creating shirts, SenCal, because I lived in Central California. And during that time, there was a whole thing of SoCal and NorCal, and there was no SenCal. So I created that, trademarked it, had a couple stores. Awesome. Realized, it's not going to be the greatest reach because you're kind of stuck in Central California. But quick kudos to 805 Beer because they took SenCal and made it into 805, and now they blew up. So it is possible to go worldwide based off a little thing. So that's just to say, I hope you don't put your dream into a constraint like I did. But I started thinking about how can I make a bigger thing? And that's where California Lifestyle came about. I started selling shirts, California Lifestyle and Cali Life. And I was doing this before anybody else. And I was like, oh, this is awesome because I'm a 6th generation Californian and I know California. But what is California? The Golden State. So as I was creating that, I started creating some under the theme of the Golden Lifestyle, right? This was going to be the luxury brand of California Lifestyle. And there was something about golden lifestyle that has always been part of my story, and I really couldn't articulate it, and for the longest time, I didn't understand what it was. And this is a consistent theme. I can go through my old journals and notebooks, and I was literally writing over 10 years ago, like the guide to staying golden. Like, it's been such a part of my story. It's why it's tattooed on my hand. But going through the years, this really started to crystallize what the golden life for me, because it was always, like you hear, the golden life, like golden state of mind, right? How do you embody that golden state of mind? How do you create your most beautiful, fulfilling, enjoyable life possible? And this led to the story which I've shared before, so I won't share the whole thing in detail, that I understood, or I found out, discovered my whole tattoo sleeve tells the story of alchemy. I was like, isn't that crazy? Of course, right? Golden life, always been part of me. And now my tattoo sleeve literally tells the 3 phases of alchemy, which is literally taking lead into gold. And this is where I've evolved it. I get to share my unique perspective on becoming the alchemist of your life, right? This is really just a filter, a new perspective, which you can view life through and you can use as a tool, as a superpower to shift your identity, to give you the resources or empowerment you need to go create that thing in your life. And this is where I get to share all the different tools from my own experience and what I've learned from others, because I've been obsessed about what makes life worth living and how do you become the best version of yourself. And along the way, going through the process of transmuting my own lead into gold, right? Part of this podcast, we're 6 months in, and I've invested a lot of time and even money working with the awesome producer Lucky here, which you can find his link in the show notes. I highly recommend working with him if you're in the Southern California area. And we're over 6 months in, actually 6 months in now, of shooting episodes and releasing them. And honestly, we're at like 150 followers on YouTube. So this is to say, like, I'm not doing this purely for the sake of business or like getting all the followers and likes or whatever. I'm doing and committing to continuing this podcast because this is me alchemizing my own lead. And what do I mean by that? Well, when I was 3 or 4, no fault of my parents, they got a divorce. During that time, there was one experience that just solidified into my being of them, getting in an argument. I was yelling at them, trying to stop them. It did nothing. It left me feeling powerless and voiceless. So it has been an honest struggle for me to really own my voice. And I still have my moments, sometimes getting in front of large groups or just being in groups and utilizing that voice. But this is also my greatest opportunity for gold, right? By being able to show up, and I put in a long time. I know 5 years I've committed since I opened the meditation supply store and started shooting videos. Did I say sharded? Oh no. And actually, Lucky was part of the experience of when I started shooting videos, not sharding. I hope I wasn't sharding. Maybe I did that as a kid. And I started shooting videos and been able to get to the point where I could feel like I could clearly articulate myself. And that in of itself, let alone of any external reward, is so fulfilling to overcome that challenge, which was also an opportunity. So now I get to share the golden life. But not only that, I get to express my gifts. And my dear brother Chris Hager continuously reminds me, he's like, your gifts are your ability to take the ethereal and bring them and ground them and just share them really simply. So this is also me getting to share my unique gifts with the world. That I love to go deep. I guess it's the Scorpio in me. I love to go into the unknown and see what we can gather and then bring that back. As well as what makes me a little bit more unique than, other perspectives is I'm always thinking about what is the golden, what is the highest potential possibility, and then what is the clear route of getting there. So in this podcast, in the Golden Life podcast, I get to share the lessons, the insights I learn about how do we get to that highest embodiment, right? How do we crystallize our fullest potential into form? And then there's alignment, because alchemists have been doing this for thousands of years, so it's nothing new. And like that led to me going through my own healing journey of transmuting traumas into gold. And then as I did that, once again, my creative brain puts together processes and systems and insights. And then I was able to take other people through the process. And this is what I've come to call the alchemical journey, where I mixed the hero's journey with the alchemical process of transmutation and created an in-person, one-to-one experience. And now I'm getting ready to launch the alchemical journey as a book so that I could touch more people, because I could probably only do 10 or so of these one-to-one experiences in a year. And there's thousands, if not millions of people that if they understood the alchemical journey, how to dive into the depths of themselves, uncover their limiting beliefs, open up their heart, integrate with their higher selves, realize we're all just one in the source, and so much more that you'll find out in the book, that they can live with more ease and confidence of the path they're going on. And now the alchemical journey, right, has manifested in this theme of the golden life. So I really hope to instill this possibility and potential within you. I had no idea I'd be writing a book. Honestly, I'm very visual, and writing a book, even though I did have the help of universal and artificial intelligence, because this book is much more than just me. You know, it's some kind of transmission from all the alchemists of the past. But you don't know where that pull in your heart is going to take you, right? From starting from creating t-shirts in my garage and selling them into college, and having the golden life, and even like using that in while I was going to Art Center, College of Design, like constantly this theme constantly showing up, to leading to realizing my whole tattoo sleeve tells the story of alchemy, to taking people through the alchemical process, to creating a book, to now just sharing this philosophy of how you can become the alchemist of your own life. And to me, the golden life is really two parts. Number one, how you can become a powerful co-creator and create your own golden life. The life that thrills you, the life is exciting and fulfilling and just fills you up with gold. As well as number two, how you can walk the alchemical journey and crystallize your highest self into form, right? Become a co-creator is another way to say it again, but like the tattoo on me of the prism here, this crystal prism, really how to become the deepest layers we can go of how do you become a crystal of God or source itself. How do you crystallize that divine flame within you into form, instead of just being like a rough diamond and lost in the dirt? So focusing on the golden life and how to create your golden life. And I call this the triangle of the golden life. And it's really these three principles that if you could just keep these top of mind, it's going to powerfully transform your internal reality, and that's going to powerfully transform your external reality. So you're probably like, David, what are these three pillars? What do I focus on so I could have limitless joy and love and happiness? And are you really trying to say that you unlocked how to experience all that? I don't know. This is just my frame on life, and I know that if you can apply it, it's going to help you. So what are the three things? Number one, fulfillment. Number two, enjoyment. Number three, self-discovery. And we're going to start from the bottom. Not the bottom. It's not really the bottom. It's a triangle. We're going to start from self-discovery. Because this is where the golden life, by pursuing your golden life, you're going to learn more about yourself. And self-discovery, you know, I think the game of life is self-discovery and becoming a creator. And it takes first understanding yourself. And it's funny because you'll create a vision for your life, but until you walk the alchemical journey, the vision you're creating for your life is most likely, like 99% chance, if you're human, born in this certain time where we're, you know, overtaken by fear, constraint, and lack-based beliefs, well, it's probably not your truest heart's desire, your most authentic desire. What I mean by that, if you've never looked at your unconscious patterns and beliefs, well, then you are just taking on the projections of others. So whether that's society, or whether that's somebody you were raised with, or maybe the opposite of somebody you were raised with, that becomes your carrot on the stick, which is your golden life. So by discovering the beliefs that you hold, by discovering your patterns, by bringing that, going through the black phase of alchemy and bringing that to the conscious awareness, well, then you really start to get in touch with your true essence. And that's through the process of self-discovery can you really elevate and step into your golden life. And then number 2 is fulfillment. And how do we get fulfillment? Well, that is through service. Who or what cause are you in service to that is bigger than yourself? Right? By giving, we're able to receive fulfillment. And this is why finding ways to express your joy, to wear that thing that might seem silly but is really awesome, because Ted Lasso is my coach in some ways. Or doing that thing that maybe was hard, was maybe your whole life has been set up so that is one of the hardest challenges for you to practice overcoming, and it's going to take you half your lifetime or a full lifetime or decades to overcome. Well, by stepping in and working on that challenge, you're going to gain fulfillment, right? So by expressing yourself in certain ways, by following your passion, by utilizing your gifts, by staying in your zone of genius and gifting that to the world and the cosmos, well, you are going to receive fulfillment. So how can you be of service? And this doesn't have to be, change the whole world and serve all of humanity. It can be beautiful, but how can you serve yourself? How can you serve those in your local environment, right? Family members, friends, animals, Mother Earth. There's so many different ways to be of service. And then finally, number 3, enjoyment, right? Doing the things that put you in joy. And we can create those peak experiences on demand. In the last episode, I just shared how to go through that process. But we're here for a limited amount of time, and it's so easy to get caught in the unconscious tides or patterns that our brains will naturally focus on fear and constraint and lack, because that's what our brains are evolved to focus on to help us survive. So it does take conscious action and effort to focus on the beautiful things in life and to take action on the things that bring you joy in life. So how can you create a life of enjoyment? And if you want to take that a deeper layer, like I shared in a couple episodes in the past, how can you create a life overflowing with positive and empowering energy? Because that is enjoyment. Because here's the kicker, right? To think the golden life is somewhere outside of yourself means you will never get there. So this triangle is about creating this internally, because nobody can take that away from you. And then there's a secret added step that if you truly want to be golden and stay golden and shine like the golden sun no matter what environment you're in, well, then we're going to add on with the triangle. This could almost be like a heart in the middle, neutrality. And what do I mean by that? It really be on the outside of the triangle, actually. Neutrality to everything in the external world. And not a neutrality of like a passiveness, but of acceptance. You are here not to project what you think is right or wrong in the world, but instead, how can you accept reality as it is? And this is something we can even apply to emotions, right? We just talked about empowering and energizing emotions. What would happen if you neutralized your idea of good or bad emotions? This might be crazy. Just stay with me. Right? What if you were completely neutral and you never thought about good or bad emotions? And what if you shifted your frame to see energizing or draining emotions? I know, just shook everything up for you, right? Because if you really get that, you could see there's emotions that energize us and there's emotions that drain us. And who's really to say if it's a good or bad emotions? We all have emotions. It's part of being human. That's not going to change. It's a fact of reality. And you can try to fight it and cause unnecessary suffering if you want to, but hey, this is your game to play. But if you want to be a powerful co-creator, and if you want to truly live your golden life, well, then you could see there's certain things like emotions that are just energy that, of course, when we lose a loved one or go through a hard circumstance, like we're going to feel the weight of the disempowering or the draining energy. But that's also what it means to be human. But being the alchemist that you are is that you get to consciously transmute that, right? There's some point, and if you lose the loved one, that you have to go through the grieving process. But then there is a scale when it's time to shift that into appreciation, shift that into greater gratitude for life. And that's the power you have. So if you could step into understanding those principles of self-discovery, learning about yourself, learning about the core of who you are, that timeless, boundless essence that you are, if you can be of service so that you can live a fulfilling life, and if you could find joy, if you could be in joy by creating joy, well, you are going to have your golden life. And then if you want to take that a step further and be like a shining sun, shining your golden life, inspiring others, being a light in this dark world, well, then have neutrality to the external world, which is another way of saying, how can you step into pure acceptance, which is another word for unconditional love. And if you can do that, my friends, you will not even seem like you're human anymore, because you'll just be floating through life. And what an accomplishment. So once again, thank you for joining this episode of The Golden Life. If you want to learn more about The Golden Life, just visit www.goldenlife.com. And I hope today I just got to put a perspective of one of the highest ways you can start to look at your life to really tap into this infinite well of joy, love, and peace that is a potential. Now, I didn't say this would be easy, and I know we don't have a lot of people to model this from, but it is in the realm of possibility. And it's by living through these principles we can start to alchemize. We can start to crystallize this life into existence and literally create a whole new type of human that understands how to live in the environment, how to live in the earth, but not be dictated by it. And that is the powerful potential you have. So stay golden and keep playing harder.